Hey, what is up? What is up? What is up? It is your favorite Thursday night talk show, and that is known as the Fang Exchange right here on YouTube Live. So if you have not subscribed to the Fang Exchange YouTube page, what are you waiting on? Subscribe, hit the bell so you'll get notifications from when we go live, when we do stuff. So here we are. I see my folks already lining up in the chat room. So again, let us know. We know what you want to do every week. I see Frank. Frank got in first this week. That's what's up. He beat I see you, Frank. That's what's up, Frank. I'm trying out for man, Frank. So you know what to do. So get in the chat room. Let us know the semester and year that you got to FAMU. We like to know where everybody went to FAMU whenever they got there on the hill. Doesn't matter. So yeah, you're right. You would, Frank. So that's what's up. So here we are. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We got a big announcement that we're going to be talking about. So stay tuned. Stay with us. We got a big announcement about what we're going to be doing next, because we're always trying to bring things to you to innovate, to help grow the Fang Exchange, because as you know, we are here for the athletes. That is why we're here. That's the only reason why we're in existence right now. I see you, freshman class of 88. That's what's up. So the only reason why we're here is for the athletes, and we have to continue to drive funding for those athletes so we can sign more and we can continue to pay the athletes for NIL to keep FAMU athletics strong. So that's why we're here. We're going to scroll across the bottom. We put the banner information up here. So any way you want to follow us there, follow us across social media. We're on Twitter, X, whatever they want to call it now. I know he's trying to be the liaison to the president, but we ain't going to talk about it. This is not a political show, so we ain't going to talk about that. Go on Instagram with Fang Exchange. We're also on Facebook for you older folks, those folks that are pre-95 that are still on Facebook. Make sure that you follow us on Fang Exchange. So we just had some interesting discussion, like before coming on air. We were talking about some foolishness that's going on, that there was a new ruling in junior college. So Tasha, you want to tell us what happened and we'll discuss it?
Sure. Well, actually, go ahead. Y'all, I had almost oral surgery on my mouth.
Okay. Right.
I had some brackets readjusted. So Ashley is going to do a majority of the talking tonight.
Oh, yeah. So I'll go ahead and chime in. Basically, there's a ruling. This is a ruling for, as we know, it's hitting the waves of social media, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere where people are highly enthused and into college sports specifically. This is a football, I believe, based ruling, but doesn't mean it won't pertain to other sports. But as many of us already know, there's a ruling that allowed an individual athlete who went to court and was able to kind of retain his JUCO years. So then, of course, much like anything else that kind of comes down, it sets the precedence, right? It opens the door and opens the Pandora's box for others to say, well, hey, what about me? Can I do the same thing? Who does this pertain to? So as of right now, there's an injunction, and it doesn't appear that it pertains to, it's not a blanketed ruling at the moment, but I could have just imagined, that more people will come up. It probably class as a lawsuit style situation that'll occur, or individually more and more individuals will come up and say, well, hey, can I get this? Can I get my years back? Am I able to have my 2 JUCO years back, which gives me 4 additional years after I leave JUCO to go into university? So it's just, when you think about it, so many implications to this. Like, it's so many possibilities to something like this really becoming a blanketed a possibility for athletes who are coming in. Like, I mean, it affects the high schoolers that were already getting affected by the transfer portal.
Right.
It affects, the younger guys who are actually on the team. It, to me, is a benefit. I mean, you could look at it as a benefit to the athlete who chooses to do JUCO, because they may look at it as like, hey, this is my holding ground to develop, grow. I mean, they'll be grown, but it probably doesn't benefit, like what you were kind of saying before, Ellis, like professional. If you're an athlete that can make it professionally, the older you get, the less appealing you are.
Mm-hmm. Yes, especially when you're coming out of college and if you're a marginal player and you're potentially 25, almost 26 years old, because you got to think about it like this. Athletes in high school are reclassing, right? So you could come out of high school at 19 and then go to JUCO
Yep.
You can redshirt in JUCO, so that's 3 more years. So that's 19 because you reclass in high school. Now you go to JUCO, you redshirt a year. You do your 3 years in JUCO, so now you're 21. Then you go to college, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if and those JUCO years don't count, so now you got minimum 5 years in college. And then if you do, and as Tashay talked about, medical red shirt, another a red shirt. So you could do a red shirt. So 5 years, you could do a red shirt, medical red shirt.
Mm-hmm.
You could have up to 11 years of playing college football.
That's insane.
So to me, like there's no way in my mind, like there's no way they can. So I know there are a lot of athletes that go to a 4-year university and then something may not pan out and they'll go to a JUCO and then they'll bounce back to a 4-year opportunity. I've seen that, but in this ruling, how could they allow an athlete to continue? Like it's almost like there's got to be somewhere where the line is drawn. If they're going to allow this to be a blanketed thing, like how do you allow somebody to just keep bouncing back and forth and going to
I don't
JUCO?
think so. I don't think that the precedence that's going to have to be set is. I don't think that they are going to be able to allow a person who has jumped back and forth. I think that's why I was saying earlier, this is in my opinion, it's about development. Because if I spend 2 years at a JUCO, if I come out of high school and go straight to JUCO, when you think about it, it appears to almost allow our high school students to get in, if you think about it, right? Because so many of them are struggling now because of the transfer portal. If I'm a high school kid, right?
Yeah.
It is less likely that I am going to. Most coaches now are taking a small percentage of high school kids, majority, the rest are coming out of the portal. So if I decide to go the JUCO route, I know that I'll still be able to get 4 to 5 years of my D1 playing time if I play my cards right. So really, if you think about it, this really could, work in favor of high school students.
That's exactly what I mean. Like they can go and just sit there and grow, develop, and like you said, play a card right and come out.
But I think
I think it's going to have a bigger
levels the playing field for those high school kids.
It's going to have a bigger impact on the other sports. And so, like, so for example, so my son plays baseball, right? Mm-hmm. So you think about, and a lot of baseball, the D1 baseball programs are pulling. They said it out loud. He's gone to camps at Clemson, FSU, whatever, and they're like, yeah, you and they all say, well, if you're not a super top prospect. Mm-hmm. And those super top prospects are going to the pros. Again, they're going to the
MLB. Mm-hmm.
So that next level, if you're not that, then they're telling them go JUCO or D2, D3. But if you go to JUCO, now you're because of this ruling, you go to JUCO, you can preserve those years, get some experience at the collegiate level, and then potentially go to a D1 program, and they still have 4 years or 5 years that you can get to that program. So that's even going to make it harder for high schoolers. It's going to funnel them to JUCO because you got people that are going to be sitting in these programs longer than they should be, right? So they're going to be taking up spots in the program. And I love what Demetria was saying. So look, she was like, especially like a running back, you can't have 8 years in your body in college and think you have a long. No, you're absolutely right. Running backs are
already short-lived. Yeah,
already short-lived, right? So and there's numbers to back this up. Anytime a running back in the NFL has over 300 carries in a year, the next year they either hurt and their career gets shortened. So you taking them hits on your body in JUCO, and yeah, it's the level of talent is not the same, but you're still taking hits on your body.
But here was my thought. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
My thought was, if we're doing this with JUCO, what is the difference for a D3 or D2 player that moves up to? Because we've seen it, where some of these D2 kids move up to, wherever. We're talking about higher level P4, G5, whatever. Is it not the same concept? When you think about it, if I'm playing D2, D3 football and I'm able to move up to a, P4 program, is it not the same concept that it was really like development that I spent here Okay, somebody took a chance on me in one of the smaller programs, and so my thing is they could argue that it's the same type of thing. I think that
Well,
this
and
just
this is
muddied
what
the water.
this is what Demetria was talking about. She said, "What about guys who went to FCS from high school but didn't get a lot of playing time? You don't think they will go JUCO, filling up those spots from high school?" So, and that's what I was talking about. It's going to funnel people to JUCO because it's like if I go D2 to what you're talking about, Tashay, if I go D2, if I go to, let's say what it is, if I go to FAM for 2 years and then try to level up, my time is shortened.
Mm-hmm.
Then versus if I went to JUCO
Mm-hmm.
and then went to a D1 program, I still got 4 or 5 years at that D1
Right.
program versus if I went to FAM for 2 years, now I only got 2 or 3 years at a
Right.
D1 program. That's a huge difference. And so if you got a kid that's really has pro aspirations but hasn't quite developed yet, I might go JUCO because I can preserve my years. And I get it.
Absolutely.
I get it. And so yeah, it's gonna have huge implications.
Yeah.
And then if it really does become a blanketed thing, think about how these D1 programs will start housing their players in the ones who maybe aren't ready, the ones who maybe need a little bit more development, the ones who maybe go sit in this JUCO, probably start making partnerships under the table.
Yes.
Of sorts, and saying, yeah, like I had a defensive back that I need to send over to you for a couple of years. Like I need you to develop them, send them back to me in a year or two, whatever time.
And those partnerships are already in place, right?
They are right. So why wouldn't you take advantage of it?
They're gonna have to.
I need you to go to Missouri.
Major.
I need you to go to there's a JUCO in Mississippi that sends a lot of guys to D1 programs. There's a JUCO in Missouri that sends a lot of guys to D1 programs. So you don't think those coaches are going to say, whisper to these players, hey, you need a little development, but if you want to maintain your eligibility, I'm not telling you to do this, but instead of going to this school, you might want to go to this JUCO, and then I can give you a 4-year scholarship if you develop properly. This kid's going to be flooding these JUCO programs.
Now, where it gets sticky is coaches change yearly.
Yes.
So that athlete kind of takes a chance, but I guess that could happen anywhere. But coaches change. So that promise you a spot in another year or two, all the chances are they don't even be there.
I think that who this really benefits, right? If you have a kid like Demetria was talking about with running backs, but let's look at some kids that may have, been misused in the program, right?
Yeah.
Didn't get many carries. Should have been, we've seen it happen all the time. Weren't being played properly, right? The coach had favoritism. The coach liked this quarterback, but whatever it is. And so getting this other year or these other couple years could really benefit kids, I think, that have had to sit. You know what I'm saying? One difference from JUCOs.
So I would say this, and Kelvin is making a good point here, so that's why I put it on screen. But here's the other thing. Okay, we're talking about the worst case scenario, but what we really have to recognize is you have to have a D1 body, right? The guys that are going D2 and D3 probably don't have D1 bodies, right? And so, and I will give you a classic example. So there were some. I was just at the state championship, high school football state championship on Tuesday night. There were some kids I used to coach at they're playing at Milton here in Atlanta.
I was there too.
Okay, so you were there. Yeah. So I had on the Milton team, literally I coached about 11 of those players on that Milton team, including the quarterback, the tight end. They were all scoring touchdowns, a couple of defensive players, all of that. So I was there with the families, just enjoying watching them win that game. But the kids that I coach had pro bodies. The offensive lineman is 6'8", 320. He's going to Clemson. Quarterback, 6'4", 210, going to Miami. Tight end, 6'4", going to Georgia. They got NFL bodies already in high school. But these kids that are going D3, D2, JUCO, there's some JUCO boys that have D1 bodies, but they may not have had D1 grades, which is what prevented them from going D1. So it's going to be just a kind of a really select group of guys, because I'm not bringing a 6'2", 6'1" lineman to Mississippi State just because he got good heart. I don't care how much eligibility he's got left. He's not big enough to play in the SEC. And so we've got to kind of rule that out as well. Like, we got to think about that in terms of, like, are they really D1 bodies, or are they just kids that with D1 bodies that need to develop? And that's really the distinction the coaches are going to have to make in a very significant way. Hey, Mary, how you doing?
It's going to have to be, for sure. It's going to have to be the players that are worth it, right? You can filter through. You got your guys that are for sure going to be NFL caliber, but maybe not ready, like you said, grades, body type,
right,
or even skill set needs to develop. But you see the potential, the future in them. So it's got to be the athletes that are worth it. But like you said, like, there's going to be a handful of athletes who are second stringers who in their minds, I can go to the pros and I'm going to go. So we see it all the time, especially even more now with this NIL and ability to transfer as much as you like. Like, you have athletes who really do think that they are professional caliber, or have to believe, which is something you have to be competitive, high level competitive. You have to believe that. So it'll just be interesting to see it, it play out all together, because again, it's only, we know it's only been a ruling for one athlete, but
right.
These people gonna come out of all. We already see it on Twitter and everywhere else. Do I have another year? I can come back and play another year. I can,
But they're going to challenge it, and it's going to take the ADs and the coaches from the D1 programs to be like, nah, player, nah, that applied to him. So you're right. So I think he put a good post up there. He said D1 associate AD, he said the reasons you go really only pertains to that one player. Right. And so if they continue, if they draw that line in the sand, that'll be fine. But to your point, Ashley, absolutely,
they're not going to be able to.
In my mind, in my age right now, I'm like, yeah, I was, because after my college years, I started playing flag football locally in Atlanta, and there was a lot of guys that played D1 football in that league. And I used to give it to them. So in my mind, I'm like, oh shoot, I got to play D1 ball. Mm-hmm. It's a whole different level, right? It's a different level of game. I don't have a D1 body, but because I was able to compete on a flag football field with D1 athletes, I thought in my mind, oh, I could have played at a D1 level. It's different. It's so different.
So tell me this then, hypothetical. Your son, specifically football, is coming around. They make it an opportunity. What do you tell your son to do? Or even if it becomes, all sports, even your daughter, what do you tell them to do? Do you tell them you see the potential that they have? Because I mean, if you're one of those players that can go those 3 years and out kind of thing, you might as well just go directly to your D1 program and develop and go. But what do you tell your child if they're at a crossroad of like this?
I would tell my child to listen to other people, because parents are delusional. Parents are delusional about their children.
Parents are definitely delusional.
They're very delusional about their children. And I'm saying that as someone that has been a coach, and I've had many parents come up to me and say, "What about my child?" And I'm like, And when they were before puberty, I would say, wait till they hit puberty and then come talk to me. And then if they were after puberty, and I was like, does your child jump off? Because I know you're just watching your child when they're on the field, and you're seeing every great thing, and you're overvaluing when they do something good, right? And I said, the best players. If you go to 8th grade football, 9th grade football, high school football, there's some kids that jump off that field. Like, you could look at, that kid's different, right? You see different, and different shows up more in high school, a little less in college, but it shows up in college as well. Oh, that kid's different. If that's not your kid, and here's a real thing. there's enough college football programs that your child can play college football. If your child wants to play college football, there is enough football programs, D1, 2, 3, that your child can play college football and have school paid for. That's what you should be focusing on if you're a parent, unless your child is super special. Like the kids I was talking about here that was playing at the Milton game the other night.
Let me say this. First, as concerning, I forgot his name that fast. Do not think absolutely this ruling is for the one student, but there's going to be lawsuits for people to be able to do this as well. So the NCAA, for this to come out like this, know that the NCAA is already either considering or trying to figure out how they can make this work across the board. Second of all, also when we look at some D2 programs or like us, we're D1 AA, old school D2. There are times where some kids just need a shot on them. We can look at Isaiah Land, who could not get any bigger offers because of his size, right? He didn't have D1 size, but he had the potential, obviously, because he's on a 53-man roster right now in the NFL without the size. Willie Simmons took a shot on him, but he just didn't have that D1 size. So there are some kids that don't have that size. And when you talk about that heart, they have the skills and all that. They just need a shot or the opportunity. And then lastly, what I want to say is, if I'm a coach, this works for me. In my opinion,
you gotta make all of it work for you. Yeah.
I'm saying if I'm a coach, I can get some of my star players that I get from JUCO. Okay, especially in the SWAC. We traditionally SWAC schools. We get a lot of JUCO players. If I can get my my star guys or my veteran guys extra 2 years, this works for me. You know what I'm saying? So we talking about taking up scholarships. They don't care about that because this less development I have to do. I can I get an extra 2 years out of my big guys. And some of them, the truth of the matter is this is the highest they'll go. They won't play on Sundays. You know what I'm saying? That's the reality. Many of them. The percentage for those that will go pro is what? I think it's less than 1%.
Less than 1%.
Yeah, so this is the highest that a lot of them will go. This is they reach the mountaintop with in college. So absolutely, if I can get them more time, and I have to develop less, this works for coaches. So ADs, he was talking about an AD and the coaches. An AD and a coach, why wouldn't they want this?
Oh no. This ruling helps coaches more than anything else.
Yeah.
Right? Because as we know, the transfer portal has diluted the talent at the top programs. And we're seeing that across the board, because the days of FSU having, five-star talent back to back is over with, because that 5-star talent is going to be like, you know what, I'm not playing. I'm going to transfer to this school and I can play right away. And so they're being diluted. Now you're saying, oh, I got more eligibility as a coach. Oh, I'm stacking. I'm sending. I'm
stacking on the table. All right, send you here. You bring you back.
I'm stacking. Yes.
You get a system going. You get the right system going.
It depends on where you are. So from a coach's standpoint, it's perfect. From a parent standpoint, from a player standpoint, you're like, oh, I get more eligibility. Perfect. From just a logjam standpoint, it's going to be a clusterfuck, and that's really what it is. I mean, that's because you got kids going to JUCO that's trying to come in. They're going to have more eligibility, so that means because they're not going to change the number of roster spots on a D1 program.
It's actually decreased.
It's already
decreased.
So that makes it even more of a log jam if you think about the fact that it's less people.
Yeah, but once again, in the interest of the high school students, I'm sorry, this 100% helps high school students.
Oh yeah,
these kids that won't get a shot. You know what I mean? They go to a JUCO, and then they spend. My thing is, for a coach, what you have to worry about is if you send those kids to this JUCO program, you hope they don't develop and become a superpower and then bypass your program altogether. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, you see the guy from UAPB. Now a lot of people are talking about the fact that Giovanni Gibson, he went to Oklahoma, right? He went from UAPB, but what a lot of people are glazing over the fact is that Giovanni Gibson came from Arkansas. So it ain't like he came out of high school and just went to UAPB.
He already had that body type.
He had a D1 body.
Yeah,
D1 talent.
Yeah, he did. So we don't know. Nobody knows what happened. You know, we making all of our little assumptions about what have happened and, you know, what it could be. We don't know that caused him to drop down to the sweat. But he's spent a year there, and now he's going back. You know, he's in Oklahoma. So all of this, in my opinion, works to the advantage of the high school students, which they have been kind of left out of this in light of the transfer portal. So I think that this will work if, you know, let me say when. I truly believe that this is not a matter of if, but when this ruling becomes unanimous, it will work to the advantage of those high school kids that are, you know, on the cusp. The coach is not willing to just take a shot. Those small little, you know, percentage of kids, and you know, it kind of mimics what JUCO already is, which is, I call it grade 13.
Yeah.
So, you know, it'll be that grade 13, 14.
I think in ultimate way, it's going to be the best thing for high school players, and so I'm all for that, having more opportunities for players to continue their dream, right? If they want to play at a collegiate level, yes. And the August Jamal show put it in there. 0.5% make it to the NFL. So let's not get, and I hope these guys aren't deluded enough to think that they're going to make it to the NFL. I would think, like, if you want to play college football, play. And this gives them more of an opportunity to do that.
Why would they want the extra years, though? Right?
To get more looks and to get developed.
So in their minds, they think that they'll get better, or something will happen where that professional opportunity will arise. Even though if you need more years, you probably already on the other side.
Okay, I can speak to from personal experience. When I came out of high school, I was like 5'6", 150 pounds, but I had the heart of a better player. Because the coach loved me. He was like, "Oh God, I love the way you play." Because I had no fear on the football field. But when I got off the bus, there was nobody looking for me. Like, who that little dude coming off the bus? But after my freshman year in college, freshman year at Fang, the summer after my freshman year, grew 4 inches, added on about 20 pounds. Now I'm at a height and a weight that I could play. So you don't know how people are developing in their life in terms of the way their body develops. They could be a late bloomer, and so you have to recognize that. And so so that's going to help those late bloomer kids as their body is going into it. They may have the skill set and the mind to play, but they may not have the body. Next thing you know, they hit that late bloomer because you know, just from a physical standpoint. Some boys go through puberty later on in life. They hit that growth spurt later on in life. Up until like age 21, they can still continue to grow. And so giving them those extra years allowed their body to mature to where they can actually, their physical can catch up with their mental when it comes to playing football. So I definitely, I just, like I said, I'm speaking from personal experience. I was like, having that extra year or 2 or 3 can go a long way in terms of developing look, August said his older brother didn't crack 6 feet until he was in his 20s. So there are some times, you know, my son didn't grow until after his 10th grade year. And then like he went in like at the end the summer of his 10th grade year, went in the room, hibernated, and came out. It was like, oh, wow, okay. It was a big change. So those are different, you know, those are things that could really benefit the players. I just think that is really what it's going to boil down to is the coaches are going to have to really evaluate talent a lot better.
And they're whatever the rule when it comes out, it's best that they kind of have it tight on the front end, unlike like the transfer portal and NIL. There was no real. They just let the Pandora's box open and become the Wild Wild West. So in if this is going to be not an if, but when this becomes a thing that you can naturally do, I hope they learn from some previous rules and things that they've opened the doors and just say, hey, like, okay, you can use your 2 years, but you got to do it in this trajectory. You got to do it in this consecutively, or however, whatever that means, that keeps you from having 11 years worth of eligibility.
Well, I think the thing is, and it was said earlier, it was a comment earlier that we overlooked. And it was basically they were talking about because the JUCO here it is Kelvin. So shout out to Kelvin. JUCO is not governed by the NCAA. And so the NCAA might have to start setting some regulations on JUCO, right? Because right now the JUCO is really the Wild Wild West. And if this ruling is applied across the board and not just to that one player, then the coaches are going to start leveraging that rule. And since there's no regulation by the NCAA, if a dude hasn't really exhausted their eligibility, you don't know how old a player could be that goes into JUCO, right?
Yeah.
So now this dude may have gone to JUCO. He may have gone to college fresh out of high school. Almost like, remember Chris Winkie back in the day?
I was just about to say, y'all remember Chris Winkie? Like, wasn't he like 28?
He was 28 playing football at Florida State because he went to Major League Baseball. He went to play baseball straight out of high school, so he never exhausted any of his college eligibility. So once his baseball was starting to stagnate, he jumped and went to FSU and played football at FSU. We could start having a lot of kids like that coming. They're like, oh, okay, as long as I don't go to college. And JUCO is now not counting, it could be really problematic. So they could be like 2 years out of high school, then go to JUCO, and those years don't count, and then they go to a D1 program. You know what I'm saying? Now you got a 30-year-old out there playing college football. That's
so I think that the easiest regulation, if I'm the NCAA, right, and I deal a lot with, Ashley and I both, but definitely. I do a lot of research on compliance as far as the NCAA is concerned. I think the easiest regulation to put in place is one, this rule would have to be in place only for children that come straight out of high school and go to the JUCO, right? So you have to be fresh out of high school, go to JUCO. And I think the second easiest thing to do is that if you go this route, you can no longer redshirt unless there's a medical redshirt, the medical issue, where right now in place, if I play less than 4 games, I can redshirt. Yeah. Right. I can redshirt that year. If you go this route, you cannot just redshirt. It has to be for a medical reason. I think this is what I'm putting out is what I think is one of the easier or two of the easier regulations that you put. For one, it only applies to people that go straight to JUCO, straight out of high school. And two, you take out the regular red shirt. Only time you are able to red shirt is if it's medical, right? So you can't do 2 years in JUCO, then come and play 3 games and say I'm a red shirt this year, and then come. No, you can't do that, right? Yeah. You would have to, and then I think even they might want to consider the grad year, right? Yeah. If we're talking about leveling this so that these kids are not there for 8 years, essentially those are the type of parameters that they'll have to put in place, and they're not going to catch everything when the ruling first comes out. It just doesn't happen that way. Just like with the transfer portal, just like with NIL, things are going to be ever changing because kids are going to come in with their lawyers and with whatever, and they're going to find the loopholes. Because if what I was trying to even say when we were talking about development, I can even talk about, we can look at our own team and look at some kids that could benefit, that are NFL pro, they have the ability to play on Sundays, but they could have benefited from another year after this year. They could have benefited from another year. So this will help somebody, even not even just, we're talking about being developed.
So we're just talking about needing more time.
Yeah, they need some more time.
Year
we had a year or
what they already have.
Whatever.
Coaching or or rough year or whatever the thing is they have all the tangibles but needed another year and couldn't get it.
Just let me show my stat. My stats wasn't on point this year because of whatever. So let me, you know what I mean? So it would have to be a lot of parameters on this, but I think the easiest one when you're talking about compliance and regulation, the easiest two immediately are not being able to do that, sit out for a year in whatever, or 2 years. And then ultimately taking out that the regular
you gotta go directly to JUCO.
Directly to the JUCO, straight out of high school.
I like eliminating that red shirt. If you go to JUCO and then go to a D1 program, if you're gonna have all your years of eligibility when you go to a 4 year, then you
already red shirted, baby. You red shirted for 2 years already.
I love it. So I think, but that's the point that I think that Kevin was trying to make, is like the NCAA are going to have to intervene and create some parameters, because this is a new precedent, and so they're going to have to get ahead of this. And so this is, I'm always a proponent of, when that ruling came down, they should have already started working on some rules, because and kids are going to start already. Kids and parents are already going to try to exploit it. The NCAA they're going to have to, even as a reaction, they're going to have to set these rules. And I love what you presented to Shay. I think that makes the most sense in terms of limiting having a damn near 30-year-old playing college football.
Because it's not fair.
Which is useless, because you're not, I mean, what are you going to do at that age if you really think GMs and coaches are going to want you at that age to come play professional, if your whole reasoning is to get to the next level? Like, I mean, it doesn't take that long to degree, so get your degree.
They just want to keep playing.
At 27, I'm giving it to a 19-year-old. I don't give a damn how big he is. I'm giving it to a 19-year-old.
Absolutely. And just like the boy you talking about, Babor from Milton, that tight end, he was doing the little safety at Langston all night. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I just can. I got the, you know what I mean?
That's my dude. That's one of the kids I coach.
I know.
Ethan. Yeah,
I was
thinking his dad was right next to me in the stands, and I was like, Ethan, but to the point, there was a comment made earlier. It's like they started recognizing. We knew Ethan was a D1 player when he was 8 years old, just from the fact that the way his body was built and the way he was playing the game and the athleticism. You can determine talent and athleticism early on in life. And some kids develop, and some kids are late bloomers, so I don't ever want to take that away. But the ones that are there, that's why Ethan got that ride at Georgia. Because we said,
the old lineman on Langston's Dontrell Glover. I mean, TJ, Tavares Dice, these kids from when they were playing for the Ducks.
Lil Lay, the track
when they were playing for Atlanta with the Ducks, they were 10 years old, and everybody already knew. Like,
everybody knew. I'm like, bro.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell. The ones who really have it, you can tell. The ones who get it later, they'll come around. But the ones who really already have it, you see it.
Our job as coaches is not to fuck it up. That's really what that was it. It was like, put these kids in position, teach them how to play the game the right way. That was our job. Teach them how to play the game right way, develop their love for the game so they don't get burnt out, they don't feel like they're overused, whatever. And they all are doing it. So Braden, 77 on Milton, the biggest offense, the biggest player on the field, tallest, Brandon Jacobs' son, going to Clemson. We knew back then, we're like, as long as we don't mess it up, he don't get injured, he's gonna be a player. And then like these kids, we knew it is what it is. So we're gonna be interested. We gotta switch because we're coming up on our time, so we gotta switch to our announcement. This is an interesting discussion.
It go on and on.
Look, we knew. Like, I played with a dude named Eric Black back in the day. I don't know if Eric's not watching, but like Eric Black, he was our quarterback. Now the coach's son was also a quarterback, so they shared time. But we knew Eric. Eric played football. Eric played basketball. Eric was a super athlete, big, strong, fast. He went to FSU. And we knew back then, we're like, this dude, he's better than the rest of us on the field. He was like, he's better than the rest of us. Let it go. So when he went to FSU, we're like, yeah, you go to FSU. I was on the Bobby Bowden when they were stacking athletes. And I'm like, we got that scholarship. We're like, yeah, we knew Eric was going. What you mean? So, all right. Well, so, Ashley, let's get to the announcement. We got a big announcement.
So we're coming down to our time tonight, and we're rolling right into we've already had the Thanksgiving holiday pass us by. So now we're rolling strong into the Christmas holiday, and we've kind of been hitting this, right? But we were kind of trying to figure out when we were gonna do this. But we've been hinting at trying to pull this off. But we have something called
a campaign
that we are pushing towards, which is, we have a super unique name that we're going to call it, and it's called FangsGiving campaign. And for FangsGiving, we decided to come together. So think about it in this manner. We Fang Exchange came onto the scene when June-ish, somewhere up in there, summertime. Mm-hmm. So we're at the 6-month mark. We had X amount of athletes at the time, and those athletes, for the most part, are now matriculating out of the program, and new ones are going to be coming into the program, which means that we restart our efforts when it comes to Fang Exchange. Rolling in January, we needed to we have to reevaluate our budget. We have people who are members who continue to be members, so thank you so much for that. But then what we want to do is kind of engage additional members, engage additional supporters, and those who want to be able to come in and join in the fun. Like we come here every Thursday night, and we recognize that many of you who come here on Thursday nights are a lot of the ones who don't hesitate to purchase a hat, don't hesitate to purchase a shirt, or become a member. So we're greatly appreciated. But we want you to dig a little deeper, talk to your friends, word of mouth, and kind of join this FangsGiving campaign that you will see more of in the coming days and in the weeks as well as it goes by. What we really want to do is we're looking to have 3,000 individuals at minimum contribute $100. Now there are different tiers to this FangsGiving concept. And I'm actually trying to pull up the slide, but I had an issue pulling up the slide, so I'm just talking it through right now. So we have different tiers, and each one of these tiers, $100 starts the tier, but then, matter of fact, I'm going to get ready to pull this in one moment here. $100 starts the tier, but then there are tiers. There's a $187 tier, which is a silver tier. Bronze is $100. The gold tier is $1,000, and the platinum tier is $2,500. And of course, the more you go up in tiers, obviously, the more benefit you get, right? So this is something that we've decided that we think would be awesome and that you all would enjoy. So I'm getting ready to pull up. Give me a couple seconds to pull it up because it's actually moving a little. My computer is moving a little slow, unfortunately.
As Ashley said too, while she's trying to pull that up, we need you guys to reach out to the people that don't get on the show. Statistics show that about 15% of alumni bases give. We're trying to reach out to that other 85% because we need 3,000 people to get $100. We're not talking about $100 a month.
Right.
We're talking about a one-time donation of 100. If we can get 3,000 people to give $100, the way that it would impact athletics as it pertains to NIL for us at FAMU would be astronomical. And we're not just talking about football. We're not just talking about men's sports. We're talking about sports across the board, what we would be able to do with that, and how we will be able to plan out and determine how we can, help our athletes, because they, their job is to be a student and to be an athlete, and most of them do not have the time to work. That's just the truth. They don't have the time to do it. You want APR to be high, you want them to do good in school, get good grades, and you want them to go back to the Celebration Bowl. They just don't have the time.
This is how we do it. Right. And one thing, if you all noticed, the last set we had about 9 athletes, football players, and then one women's basketball player on the first set of roster that we have for Fang Exchange, but they were all athletes who were on the previous team. So we also like to treat this as a loyalty aspect. And I'm going to go ahead and pop it up on the screen here for y'all to see. we like to treat it as an opportunity to be, we like to show our athletes that that the ones who remain loyal. It's so easy to get in the transfer portal. It's so easy to chase an opportunity that's different than what you can get at FAMU. And so many of them choose to stay when they have an opportunity to test the water. So we like to look out for our athletes. So we want to retain athletes. We have current athletes who did well last season who we would like to keep and make sure they stay, in addition to some that may recruit. And doing this gives an opportunity. So as you see on the screen, there's a bronze package that will give you a FangsGiving t-shirt for $100. And that's at bare minimum. One time, it does not require you to give $100 a month, $100 every 2 months, every just one time. The link is in the chat as well. For this is a process donation link, which means that we are partnered with PYDF, and they are going to allow for this to be tax deductible. For anybody who needs this to be a donation, it will be tax deductible. That's another benefit to doing this. And as you can see, the silver package is, it increases in what the value, right? So for $187, you will get a FangsGiving t-shirt that you'll see more of a mock-up of that. You'll get a Fang exchange towel. You also get Fang exchange social house vodka. Everybody loves a vodka. Everybody's been hiring the vodka bottle, the signature bottle. So here's your opportunity to kind of give in that 187 tier. You're donating to the athletes, but you're also getting things in exchange. And then we move on to the gold tier for $1,000. You get everything that's involved in the silver package, but you also included with that is a black exclusive Fang exchange hat. So it will not be the hat that you've seen, which is the cream and green. There'll be an exclusive hat specific to this FangsGiving campaign. And then another thing you'll also be able to participate in is a meet and greet with the athletes, which we all love to do. The athletes love to meet our fan base, our alumni base, the youth, the kids love meeting the athletes. Last season we had opportunity with some of those who contributed for some of their young rattlers to go and meet the athletes. And they were so excited. The athletes, I've seen them giving them their gloves, giving them their wristbands and things like that. And the little kids love to receive those types of things. So that's for the gold package for $1,000. And then the last but not least, the platinum package is $2,500, $2,500. And on this package, you get everything that's included in the gold package, but you also get a Fang game day experience, right? So that's something that is not usual for us. But Coach Cozy has graciously committed to allow anyone who will contribute to the platinum $2,500 level, that you have an opportunity to have a Fang game day experience, which allows you to do the pregame meal with the team. You'll be able to go with the Rattler walk. You'll be able to be on the warm-up out with the team on the field. And then there's some other perks that come along with that. Then when you go to the Process Donations website, you'll be able to read and get more details about what it is you would like. And all you got to do is just go to the website, pick a tier that best fits you. And then from there, make the donation. Let it be known if you're going to need, I'm sorry, Kenya's comment caught my attention. But let us know if you're going to need that tax deductible donation. Shout out to Kenya, who is already a strong supporter of Fang Exchange, who says count her in for the silver package after Christmas. And this will be going on after Christmas. We recognize that Christmas is going on and many of us are shopping and spending up all our money on our kids and our parents and our family members. But hey, it's not too late even after Christmas, because we want to keep this going. Like I said, we're looking for 3,000 individual Rattler supporters who are willing to, at bare minimum, give $100. And then this is exactly what we need to come out, dominate 2025.
Absolutely. And for just to clarify, for that platinum package, this will be for next year's football season. It will be one of the games. It's almost like you'll be essentially a special guest of Coach Cozy that day. So it's gonna be fire. It's gonna be a fire day. We're gonna make sure that it's fire. And that's just specifically for that package. You'll be able to, the details will come out, as football season comes out, because we know we have 6 home games this year. So, we'll be able to maneuver and do a couple of things with that. But it, like I said earlier, like Ashley's saying, even if we can get 3,000 people, put it in your freshman class chats. I know you have one class. Me and Ashley are class of 2000, and we have we have a group meet. Put it in your chats, put it in the alumni groups on Facebook, because if we can get 3,000 people to give just $100, we will be able to get a budget that would be able to help, a nice amount of our athletes. And
again,
we
this
want
is
to
not
do this
football.
Right. We want to be able to do this with our I'm sorry already. We want to be able to do this with our alums. You know what I mean? This is something, when we did the planning for this, we kind of discussed how who we would target and whatever. And the consensus was like, no, we're going to take care of our own. We want Rattlers to help out Rattlers. And our base is way too large for this not to happen in
3,000 is so easy.
It's so easy for us.
Easy. That's what percentage is that sit in the stadium, for football.
Exactly.
And, that's easy. $100. So to us, if we break it down in that manner, and then when we put it together, imagine the football players we can support, the basketball players we can support. Imagine the volleyball players who are SWAC champions and made it to the NCAA tournament. Like,
track and field.
Volleyball deserves this. So for us, this is why we're here. We want to make sure that we have an opportunity to engage with you all, and not just you all, but your friends and your classmates, like Tashay said, and other Rattlers who we may not reach. So one thing for certain and for sure that you'll see more of this as the weeks and days go by. We recognize that this Christmas holiday is coming up next week, so we're going to take a break actually for the next 2 Thursdays, and we'll be back live for the beginning of the year, January 9th. But Kelvin here on ONG Strike Zone wants us to come in and talk about this campaign on January 8th. So we're more than happy.
We'll be there.
Spread the word.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely be there, Kelvin. So send us information.
We're there. No question asked.
Plug us in anybody else's show too, because we need this to get out. That's what we'll do. Like, we wanted to kind of premiere it here tonight for you all to be the first ones to hear and see about it and get opportunity to kind of engage with us. But you'll see more advertisements through social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and in other manners. You'll see this, and we'll continue to push this. So if you're one of the ones who has not given yet, once you see this more and more, just know we'll continue to promote it, and we're looking for the opportunity to kind of grow this Fang Exchange platform. Make sure that we're engaging the NIL. Yeah, somebody said, when's the last time we had 6 home games? I don't know. Like, I feel like it was always maybe 5. 4 or 5. It was pre-pandemic. It was definitely pre-COVID.
It was probably early 2000s.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID, definitely.
That I think we saw 5. So having 6, think about being able to get that platinum package, and then you're able to come out and enjoy one of those 6 games. And think about the home games we have for football. Alabama State.
It's gonna be a crazy year.
Homecoming. So it will be Alcorn. Yeah. So
year.
It's gonna be a crazy home schedule, which gives anybody who is interested in that platinum package to kind of be the special guest of Coach Cozy, have an opportunity to kind of engage with him. But for those of you who choose to come in at the bronze level, the silver level, even the gold level, we have things that will accommodate you at your level, right? So be excited. We thank you for those who have already committed to a particular level. The link, like we said, is in the chat. We just want to make sure that you guys got to see it first. You all are here with us every Thursday, right? So why not debut it here first? Let you all see and put it in your hearts and minds. Tell your friends, tell your Rattler classmates. Come help us engage with this NIL. Because at the end of the day, if we think about it, we're in recruiting season right now for football specifically. Mm-hmm. But not only that, we have other sports. There are other athletes that jump in the portal. We lost tennis players, to the portal. We get players out of the portal. We also have sent players, I don't want to say sent, but have athletes that went to the portal because they chose to test the waters and engage with other universities. So let's keep our own. And we're not the only ones with the collective that's engaging in NIL. We want to stay competitive. Like, we got to figure out how to get back to the Celebration Bowl and NCAA tournaments in volleyball. We got to figure out how to get basketball up to speed so we can get into those tournaments. And that is literally we had a full conversation about eligibility. That is a direct connection. That is a direct reflection and connection to what? NIL and transfer portal and having opportunity. So we thank y'all again. We want to make sure you are all able to see FangsGiving. Tell your friends about it. That catchy name.
We don't want to be left behind, y'all. We don't want to be left behind.
We have to support our team.
Be left behind. We
need support our coaches.
100% participation across the board so that we are not We do not want to be what could have been, a program of what could have been. And I'm not just talking about football, I'm talking about all of it. We do not want to be a program of what could have been. You know what I'm
And we're
saying?
on the
Because
cusp. We're on
our
the cusp.
athletes decide to leave us for whatever
Right.
reason. We've seen it happen. We don't want to be that program. 3,000 people to give $100. That's your Starbucks. That's your Starbucks budget for the month. Okay.
Probably for the
I
month.
know.
Only.
Probably
Starbucks
listen.
not cheap.
Listen, probably I know for me, probably 2 weeks, one drink is $8. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
please, 3,000 people to give $100. And we hate to always, me and Ashley always talking about it. We don't want to seem like we're begging, but we are essentially coming to you. We're appealing to you for our athletes.
It's an appeal.
We're making an appeal for our athletes. 3,000 people to give $100. Now, of course, please exceed that. Hit that silver, that gold, that platinum.
Right.
But at bare minimum, if we can get 3,000 people to hit that
one
bronze,
time, it
one
will
time,
be astronomical for our coaches.
that means that we only got to ask you one time. We don't have to come to you 12,000 times.
We'll come back and we'll continue to have our amazing conversation on Thursday night, and we won't even have to sit here and do this more often.
Absolutely.
So that would be perfect on everybody's part, right? So
absolutely. Let's hit our goal. Let's hit our goal. Let's hit our goal. Let's hit our goal. Get Kenya coming off the screen because she
I'm going to take off the screen. Kenya, you got to do it on that one. I didn't read it all the way before I put it on that. But this is what we see. Like, and let's just be honest. We recognize that there are so many things that our athletic department specifically needs, right? There are a lot of things that are needed and that we can kind of engage with and help with. We know that. We're aware. We're in communication with athletic department officials and coaches. So we're not lost on that. NIL has just happened to become one of those things that's added to the pot. So it doesn't mean we can't engage in multiple means of fundraising and multiple means of giving our dollars where we can and with whom we can, right? So yes, we need to help work on some facilities as a university. Yes, we need to work on maybe some scholarship opportunities as a university. Yes, we need to do a lot of things, but we also need NIL. And it's just one of those things that we can't avoid. So I don't want anybody to think that we're coming in here and, want to take dollars from one place, kind of a rob Peter to pay Paul type thing. That's absolutely not what it is. What it is that this is the college landscape has changed. It's evolved into something different. And we just have to make sure that we stay abreast of that because our athletes are moving with the landscape. They aren't sticking with what we do. So when the market changes, when you're in a business function,
you got to change with
the market. So we appreciate you all for your support, for coming to see us week in and week out. Like I said, be reminded that we won't be here for the next 2 Thursdays, but we will be back January 9th. And hopefully you will see us on ONG Strike Zone on January 8th to kind of talk more about this FangsGiving campaign, to engage with additional sponsors and fan base and business owners who would like to join in. So thank y'all again.
Let me say this real quick.
Last words.
Yes, listen, we heard y'all. I just want to say this, Kenya, all you all, we heard you guys. We planned this with y'all in mind. So we want you to know that we heard you said you wanted us to come to you once and not have to keep asking. You wanted a plan. You wanted tears. You wanted, we heard everything you all said. And so we tried to formulate something that we felt like would appeal to our fan base, that they would accept, that you all would be proud of, something that was, on par with our brand. And this is what we came up with. And so please, 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 please support this effort. Okay. Make sure 100% that you guys participate in this. Show our athletes that we have their back. As a fan base, we have their back. We listen to you all. We did what you guys asked us to do. Please, 100%. Please, please, please. Don't leave it just in this chat. We need Miss Demetria, Miss Gail, the GOAT. Please share this with everybody because we need those 3,000 people. Okay, I'm off my soapbox session. Go ahead.
Thank you. And we won't speak to you all most likely outside of maybe on social media platforms and Rattler chats. So if that's the case, Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays. Actually, a Happy New Year as well, because we'll come back around and it'll be a new year. So we hope everyone is safe. Everyone is happy. Enjoy your family and your friends and enjoy yourself. And we can't wait to talk to you all again in the new 2025.
Ashley, when can they start giving?
They can start giving now, actually. The link is live.
Open now.
It's open. The details are there. You can start right now at 10:08 p.m. and you can keep going until we tell you to stop.
Yeah. And
So
it's a donation link. So if you need to give half now and half later,
you can do that as well, and you'll still get your benefit from whatever.
Absolutely, we'll be able to see it.
So thank you again. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we'll talk to you
later.
Out. Fangs up.